Happy Wednesday, football fans. I'm your host, Cassie Soto. We are just days away from Super Bowl 53, and ahead of the big game, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell addressed the media in his State of the League address earlier today. In attendance was the Raiders beat writer for the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Michael Gehlken. Michael, how's it going?
It's going well here in downtown Atlanta. How are you?
Could be a lot better. I have a fake backdrop behind me. The one behind you is pretty fantastic.
It's quite nice. Don't be fooled, though. It's very cold outside.
Well, many topics were hit on in today's press conference, and I think the one Raiders fans are most interested in is where the Silver and Black are playing this season. We still don't have an answer, and it's almost February. Michael, can you give us any insight on that?
Well, I don't know if anything that Roger Goodell said during his news conference on the topic would be a shock to Raiders fans, but in case there was any doubt, Roger Goodell reaffirmed what Mark Davis has really said all along, which is that he wants the Raiders to play in the Bay Area. That's what he envisions. Before the December 11th federal antitrust lawsuit that the city of Oakland filed against the NFL and all 32 of its clubs, the Raiders envisioned extending their lease at the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. But following that lawsuit being filed, the Raiders pulled their lease extension offer and really kicked into double drive their search for a stadium outside of Oakland to play their 2019 home schedule.
Right, and I don't know if you can really call him a former Raider, being as he was only with the team for less than a week, but Rams running back C.J. Anderson had some really positive things to say about Raiders head coach Jon Gruden. Can you tell us about the conversation you had with him?
Yeah, and C.J. Anderson, as you referenced, wasn't a Raider long. About a week. He was there in December, and he didn't even play in the game that he was a Raider for. He was inactive as a healthy scratch because he was signed as insurance to an injured Doug Martin. Having been a Raider for a week, C.J. Anderson said, although not a long time, he saw enough to really believe that Jon Gruden is the right man to lead the Raiders into the future.
Well, moving on from the Raiders now and a few other topics coming this week. As a heartbroken Saints fan myself, that no call in the NFC Championship game still stings. Obviously, a big talking point this week. What have you heard that will be done about these kind of mistakes so this doesn't happen again and possibly cost the team a chance of a Super Bowl?
You can expect the NFL Competition Committee to take a really close look at the instant replay, whether or not to expand it. I mean, this has been something that the Competition Committee has a pretty extensive history in terms of looking at. They discuss it pretty regularly about the replay system, what changes can be made. Some of these changes already have been implemented, and some of the things are always in the mode of discussion. And so definitely following the NFC Championship game result, with the way that the Saints lost, look for the dialogue really to heat up as it relates to the replay system and in particular the penalties. If a penalty is called, can a coach have the authority to review it? Does that come from New York? I mean, how do you do it in a way that doesn't slow down the game entirely? And so it's a bit of a Pandora box that the NFL certainly will look to avoid. So it needs to be, should a change come to the rules, be very, very specific. And so we'll see over the course of the coming months whether or not some changes are made.
Well, final question. I know everyone is dying to know. I'm dying to know. Who do you got this weekend, Pats or Rams?
It's a great question, Cassie. I usually wait until later in the week to really pin myself down to an answer, but given that we're talking here on a Wednesday, I think it's close enough. I'm going to, I think, settle on picking the New England Patriots to win this game. For me, why it's difficult to pick the Rams is because of the absence of Cooper Kupp. You look at Jared Goff's numbers, and he really hasn't been the same since losing his favorite wide receiver to an ACL tear. And of course, the Rams are talented enough to evolve their offense, to find ways to move the ball. C.J. Anderson was a big part of that in the playoffs. Look for Todd Gurley to be a greater part of the Rams offense this Sunday. But still, something about 2 weeks to prepare for Bill Belichick. You imagine a scenario where the Patriots get off to maybe a fast start or maybe they're leading in the second half. I don't know if the Rams are really built to come back from a major deficit, to run a 2-minute offense the way they might be with Cooper Kupp in the mix. And so my pick would be the Patriots to win a close game on Sunday here in Atlanta.
Got the over or the under? Last one.
I don't even know. I mean, I don't Vegas before. I don't. I'm not a Vegas gambler. Uh, Under? I don't know.
Okay.
Hopefully no one's using me for betting advice. Let's just agree on that.
All good, Michael. Well, thank you so much for your insight out. We'll stick to the Raiders next time.
Sounds good.
Well, enjoy that downtown view. Once again, Michael will be covering Atlanta Super Bowl 53 all week long, so be sure to give him a follow on Twitter at Gehlken NFL. Check out some of his articles on ReviewJournal.com while you're at it. For Michael Gehlken, I'm Cassie Soto. Thank you for watching.